What is good, YouTube? It's your boy OG Nonboy back with another video, and it's been a while, and as you all know, the meta this season is kind of stale, and that's kind of why I haven't been putting out too much content lately. But one of the big advantages of the meta being stale is that teams that worked last season should work this season as well. And since a lot of YouTubers such as myself have covered a lot of strong teams last season, you have a lot more content to watch and review in order to improve your gameplay and hopefully climb this season if you're looking to climb above where you were last season. So I'm going to be going over one of the best teams for the Open Great League that I showcased last season, Medicham, Noctowl, and Lanturn, and this team really needs no introduction. I mean, everybody knows this team and knows how strong it is, and a lot of comments that I got on my last video on this team was, how do you deal with Trevenant with this team? And the short answer is, if it's in the front, you basically just auto lose, but against most other things you have a lot of play, including even Sableye leads, since you do have two better answers for the Sableye in the back and you're not ABA weak to it, like the Medicham and Lanturn are weak to the Trevenant. But without further ado, let's get into these battles here. And first match, we have a pretty interesting lead in the Mawile, just because we sort of don't want to swap out into either our Noctowl or the Lanturn. Since the Lanturn's like our hard answer basically, and the Noctowl doesn't do particularly well against the what's this thing here, Mawile here, just because we do know flying attacks and the counters are chunking quite a bit, so I decided to just stay in here. And they swap into a Sableye, I swap into my Noctowl, and then they bring out a Dragonite in the back. So this is a pretty spicy team. A lot of kind of non-meta picks here, including the Mawile and the Dragonite. And we're just going to stay in here and tank this move, since I know we will survive a Dragon Claw if it is a Dragon Claw, and should be able to get the second Sky Attack off, and this will most likely grab the final shield. And now I'm going to come in with the Medicham. We are going to be able to tank a Dragon Claw here as well, so I'm going to save the shield for our Lanturn against the Sableye. So I'm going to get the Ice Punch off here, looking at our switch timer and assuming the opponent can't catch just because our switch timer was still up. And then we bring our Lanturn into the Sableye, and this is basically a GG here, especially if I managed to shield up the return. And even if I didn't, because we still had a shield left, I think we would have outpaced them to the next foul play here. So I'm going to throw the Thunderbolt, and then I'm going to go for a final surf, but the opponent realizes that they are lost here and they can see the match. So next match, we have the Medicham into Sableye. So this is a generally rough lead, so I'm going to swap into the Noctowl here. And generally I do use the Noctowl as a safe switch as opposed to the Lanturn. But it really depends on what I think is in the back on the opponent's side. So now they're going to bring in a Pidgeot, so this is already looking to be an interesting team, just because their Pidgeot is also running Gust. So I'm going to throw on proper timing here and throw in between each Gust. So they did shield the first one, and usually when they shield the first one, they go for Feather Dance, so that's kind of like a psychological trick that you can use to guess whether your opponent's going to go for Brave Bird or the Feather Dance, which usually works out quite a bit. But they're going to have to shield twice to maintain alignment here, which works out very well for us because we will be able to farm down the Pidgeot. But they swap into the Trevenant, and normally this is terrible for us considering our Noctowl is gone, but because we still have two shields, we should be able to take care of this Trevenant pretty handily. So they were at 7, so that could have been a Shadow Ball, so I decided on shielding it, and now I'm keeping very careful count, so I know they're 1 away from the next Shadow Ball, so this has to be the Seed Bomb. And because of that, that actually helps me out quite a bit, as I'm going to be able to get to this next Ice Punch here. So making sure I'm very low too, so the Sableye only gets one one Shadow Claw's worth of damage, and they actually attempt to catch the Surf, but I wasn't going for the Surf, I was going for the Thunderbolt, which actually kind of is a mistake, because as you can see there, 2 Surfs would have been more than enough to KO the Sableye here. So doesn't really matter though, just because we did have the shield and they failed to catch, so ended up working out for us in the end there. So Next match, we have the Medicham into Ninetales. So this is not the greatest lead for Medicham, just because you do take super effective damage from the Dazzling Gleam, and a Dazzling Gleam will KO you. So Shadow Ninetales though, Alolan Ninetales, is a little bit different from the regular one, as they can basically just go straight Weather Ball and it'll still be threatening. So how I like to play the matchup generally against the Ninetales here is I go for a Ice Punch bait because they almost will always shield, and then I'll let the first move go, and usually it will end up being a Weather Ball like 9 out of 10 times. But here I kind of mess up, and I go down with all sorts of energy. So now we're at a 1-to-1 shield where I probably could have grabbed their final shield, and I bring in my Noctowl here. And this is a pretty good matchup for the Noctowl. And right here, I want to just shield and farm down. I'm expecting them to go for the return, but they actually go for the foul play. But I'm still going to keep farming and just try to leave this matchup with 2 Sky Attacks, so we can easily take care of the Ninetales if it comes back in, or get some damage on whatever else decides to come in. So now they decide to bring in a Diggersby. So this would have been nice to have this shield down just so we can do some extra damage to them, and be able to get to Surfs without them shielding, and then having them get to an Earthquake on our Lantern. But for now, I'm just going to stay in here. Like, I need them to throw energy before I bring in my Lantern, otherwise I'll just get hit with an Earthquake straight away before I can reach a move. So I'm just staying in here, and it takes them 9 energy to take out my Noctowl, just because they will have to get to 2 Fire Punches here. But they kind of make a mistake and they bring in their Ninetales, which just allows me to farm them all the way down, and I will be able to leave here with 2 moves, and they will have to have the Earthquake ready for my Lantern in order to win this match here, but they don't have it ready, and I will just be able to get the back-to-back Surfs off. So even though we misplayed pretty bad in the lead matchup and essentially just lost the matchup without any sort of advantage in terms of shield or energy, we were still able to pull that match back there. So next match we have Ninetales, or not Ninetales, we got Medicham into Stunfisk. So one of the more positive leads, and the reason why I like the Medicham lead. And here I haven't seen a Politoed in forever, so I decided to bring in my Lantern, and that ends up being a little bit of a mistake, just because, as you can see here, they do have the Earthquake, and I'm gonna go for the Thunderbolt here. So now this isn't that comfortable of a matchup. Like, I would have rather chipped this with the Medicham and then came in with Noctowl or something to that effect, but we're just gonna have to work with what we got here right now. So they bait us with a Weather Ball, and I'm just gonna go for the Surf here, since I know they're probably gonna shield that since they want to get the next Earthquake off, and then I'm gonna hit another Surf here, and it doesn't quite KO, so I just instantly catch the Earthquake onto my Medicham, which honestly is a questionable play, just because I do know that we have a good matchup against the Stunfisk with the Medicham, and I was suspecting they were kind of ABA weak to Medicham as well, just because they did stay in and let me get a couple counters off, but maybe that was a little bit off base. But here I'm going to go straight for the Surf, and now it's just up to what is in the back. But I haven't seen this line before. Typically with the Stunfisk lead, you'll see like an Altaria or some grass types in the back. But since it is an Umbreon at this point, we are very comfortable, as we do have a full health Noctowl in the back. And because the Umbreon is a Pokemon that knows a 3-turn fast move, we should be able to just throw on perfect timing, and this will allow the opponent to not be able to catch a move, and basically guarantee our win here. So just going to come in with the Noctowl, and I'm going to throw on good timing again. So for good timing, 2-turn fast moves against 3 turns is you want to throw either 1, 4, 7, or 10. So just starting with 1 and then add 3 each time. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then they get another move off, so then we just have to throw 1 wing attack and then hit them with the sky attack, and then we should be able to farm down the Stunfisk in the back. So pretty straightforward match aside from the middle match up there against the Polito. And yeah, able to take that match there. So far doing pretty good in this set. And in this match, we also have a Stunfisk lead, and they swap into the Trevenant. So this is a pretty much hard counter city so far. Can be able to farm them all the way down. And usually when you see a Trevenant, like it's either, you know, double grass sometimes, or I'm not really knowing what to expect here. Pretty common line that I've also featured on my channel before is the Stunfisk, not Noctowl, Sableye, and Venusaur. So check that video out if you're interested, but I'm going to try to preserve my Noctowl in case there is a second grass type in the back. So I'm gonna throw the Shadow Ball here to just get rid of some of the switch timer, and then I'm gonna try to catch a Rock Slide, but it ends up being a Noctowl in the back, and they don't throw their energy. But this is a-okay for me, just because we will be able to get these Ice Punches off before they're able to reach the Sky Attack. So I'm just gonna let this Sky Attack go through, and I'm gonna go for the next Fire Punch, or not Fire Punch, Ice Punch. I just keep misspeaking. It's been a while, I guess, since I've made a YouTube video. So either way, I'm gonna go for this Ice Punch here. I'm surprised they don't shield, and we end up simul KOing. But this isn't the worst for us, but still a little bit tricky, just because they do have a lot of energy here. And to make things a little bit more comfortable, I'm going to attempt a Rock Slide catch here, just so that my Lantern has a little bit more comfortable of a matchup against the Stunfisk. So now it doesn't really matter to me if they double bait or not, since I will just shield everything basically at this point. And keeping kind of their energy here, I'm gonna go for the back-to-back Surfs. So this will put them almost in KO range, but the thing that's a little bit rough is both of our fast moves, the Wing Attack and the Spark, are resisted. So this might still end up being a little bit dicey in the end here, but I'm gonna shield up this move, and ends up being a Rock Slide, but we're gonna be able to reach this last Surf before they're able to reach an Earthquake. So yeah, able to go 5-0 in the set. Had a couple favorable leads with the Stunfisk there, which is why I like Medicham as a lead, since you will beat every team that leads Bastiodon or Stunfisk, and you also have a pretty good matchup against Registeel. And yeah, that's why I go with this order of the team. And I just don't see a lot of Trevenant right now, but as things change during the season, maybe I will adjust like I did last season. So yeah, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also submit your battles in the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.